Hey guys.
Hello, how's it going?
Very, very well. How about you?
It's going very well. It's going very well.
Awesome. We got some great big news for you.
We finally saw Parasite, guys. We hope you've seen
Thank
this
goodness.
too. So we actually, last episode, we were rushing out to see it. You might have noticed last episode was a little bit short. We did, 35 minutes, which for us is a damn miracle how short that is.
That was very short. Yeah, so we were in a rush to go see Parasite. Finally saw it.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, it's in a hell of a lot more screens and cinemas and stuff like now
I'm so pleased.
than it was before the BAFTA win, before the Oscar win. It's literally gone from, jumping around. If I just look at local cinemas to where we are, I think there's probably about 10 that are in sort of a 10-mile radius, and it jumped from being in one cinema to about 8 or 9 of them.
Yeah.
So it's really sprung out. So I'm hoping that everybody is going to see this movie. If you haven't seen this movie,
go and see Parasite, guys. Honestly, so it must be one of the first foreign films to have ever won the award for Best Picture, right?
It is. It's the first.
The first. This
The
makes
first.
sense. And so this is why it's also so encouraging, is to see the voters, I guess the Academy itself.
The Academy.
The Academy. I'd like to thank the Academy for actually thinking outside the box and going for something that they probably normally wouldn't have, and maybe there was a little bit of pressure on them to do so.
Well, I kind of think you have to. I mean, we spoke before with when Tom was here just about the other movies that were in the sort of best film category, and they're just, really, really good movies. There were loads of really good movies, but I think now that I've seen Parasite.
How many have you seen out of the category? You've nearly seen all of them, right?
I think all but 2. I didn't see Little Women. I didn't see Ford
Judy.
versus Ferrari.
Oh, Judy was in Best Picture.
I don't think Judy was in Best Picture.
Okay, good.
So I didn't see Ford versus Ferrari. Not really a massive car guy.
Yeah, me neither.
And just so the story of it kind of goes straight out of my head, to be honest.
I just thought of something. You know what is the other thing? Is I think it looks very similar to Rush. And Rush came out, not that long ago?
Yeah, Rush
Chris
was
Hemsworth?
maybe sort of a year or 2 years ago.
And that was like one of the most defining stories about racing.
Yeah. But yeah, so haven't seen Little Women, but based on the movies that I have seen, I'd definitely say Parasite, well worth it. It's a cut above everything.
Definitely,
and
for sure.
Like we've said, if you haven't seen it, 100% go see it.
Yes.
If not, then we'll give you some spoilers right now.
Yes.
We'll talk about the movie.
We're going to review it for you guys. So
I know we're a little bit late in the day because it's been out for however long.
Yeah, it must be months now, but we know that we're not the last.
Where do you even start? Like, where do you start with this movie?
It really hits some big issues, doesn't it? It takes on some big issues that are clearly translatable to so many different societies and different countries.
Yeah, I definitely think that's one of the biggest things about the movie. So it takes, like you said, things, and in some cultures and some religions and countries and stuff like that, certain things can't be taken over and brought across, whereas the things that they talk about in this movie and the things that they discuss and just what they show on screen, you can imagine that in every single country. I just think that's really, really interesting.
You can. Yeah, so this really is about class, isn't it? More than anything, it's about
100%. So
it's equality.
There's so many. We picked out quite a few either camera angles, cuts, or just scenes where you really see the difference in the class. One of our favourite ones that we spoke about, literally, we gave a bit of a sort of nudge to each other during the movie about it, because we both noticed it, but after we got out we were like, that scene was fucking brilliant. I think it's probably about an hour in, maybe slightly after. It's not quite, I'm pretty sure it's sort of stock in the middle of the movie, and it's one of these scenes where that at this you've got this Korean family. They're at this really rich, expensive house, and is it 3 characters? So the son, the daughter, and the father are having to leave the house in a rush, having to leave in a thunderstorm, and they're leaving the house, and when they leave the house, you follow them all the way back to their journey going back to their own house, and the camera, the camera follows them, and you get so many different shots of them moving further down, and it's as if they've been staying at this rich house that's sort of perched upon a hill.
Yes.
And you're slowly seeing them make their way down,
yeah,
layer by layer by layer. At one point, they're in an alleyway of what's it called? You know, when you've got like a bridge and stuff like that.
Yeah,
tunnel. You've got a tunnel. Why the fuck can't I even think of the word tunnel? so they're going through a tunnel at one point.
Tunnel, and then they go down some stairs. And then they go. There's like this nice panning shot of them going down the stairs.
But the stairs they go down. They're really what I really liked about them. They're really steep.
Yeah.
They weren't just kind of your classic. Let's just go up some stairs. It was just really really steep. Steep slope of stairs. They're going down that, and then they finally get to the bottom, and it looks gritty and it looks dark and gnarly, and that is that's their life, that's where they live. And I loved the difference between, because you've just come from that really expensive place, like I say, that feels like it's perched upon a hill, and then you're just sort of going down and down and down, and you're going into the depths of where this family live.
And that's why I think it's a filmmaker's film, is because it's always using an analogy. It's always saying a metaphor for what you're seeing. For the characters. So you've always got that whenever you see the upper class family, mainly there's a lot of them going up the stairs, and to show that they are the proud owners of this house, etc. And this guy's kind of bossing things, and they always have to go to meet the upper class family rather than the other way around.
Well, you do as well. So the entrance to the house is, you have to ascend a staircase.
Yes.
And cheeky little spoiler, when you are ascending the staircase, the lights go off. As you're coming up, and they're meant to be censored lights, but they're not. But yeah, so
Nice.
there's a lot of so many things that you can say about this movie. Like we could talk about this for hours and hours, and we wouldn't even scratch.
Don't worry.
Yeah, we wouldn't even scratch the surface. But yeah, so much class divide and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you've never seen a foreign movie, would you say that this was a good introduction into foreign movie?
Very good way to start. It was interesting because I think both of us were sat there apprehensively hoping that everybody would stick with what was being shown to them in the film and not get carried away with the fact that there's the little barrier, like Bong said. What was his name? Bong Joon.
Yep.
He said, once you can get past that 1 inch barrier of the subtitles, then you can open your mind to so many other films, and it's true.
It's true. It is literally, I don't feel like it doesn't take away I think the only thing I would say, and this definitely follows on from what Tom said a few weeks ago when we had him over, the only sort of detriment to that, I feel, is with the actors and the actresses in the movie. You can't really, I don't feel like I can get a real emotional bond
I see
with
what you mean.
the characters.
You mean it's just not as relatable to your circumstance?
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. Yeah.
No, I think I'm just sort of generalising with foreign pictures in general, because I have to read the text. I won't pussyfoot around it. I do enjoy foreign movies, and I won't be put off by that. But I just mean, like, I don't feel like I can really sort of immerse myself in that character,
right? I see
because they are speaking another. Do you see what I mean? Because they're speaking another language, and I do feel like, hopefully, in the next sort of 5-10 years, that will change Oscar-wise as well.
Let's hope so. That's the big thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it'd be really. I think it'd be really good, especially with Parasite. If you could really sort of immerse yourself in those characters even more so than you already did. To see one of them be nominated for best actor, best actress, supporting, leading, whatever. Let's
hope so. Let's hope it opens that door, because it does feel like there's been a bit of a barrier with it. But I think there was so many. There was a massive genre change in this film.
Oh, I loved that tone change. That was brilliant.
Suddenly, it's quite obvious, isn't it?
Yeah.
Quite striking.
Yeah, with some movies, they can't they can't do it.
No. How they pulled this off is actually an amazing feat.
Masterclass. Because I'd say, what is it, the first sort of 45 minutes to an hour?
Yeah.
Is definitely very sort of black comedy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not a comedy for comedy's sake.
No.
You know, you are sort of seeing some...
There's a light-hearted dialogue, isn't there?
Yeah, I wouldn't say sort of like gruesome circumstances, but they're quite, you know, it's... To see this family, you know, the story begins with this family, and you see them, they're in squalor.
They're in squalor.
You know,
yeah, they're struggling.
There's not... Yeah, exactly, they're struggling.
Tom was saying when he was with us was that they're a very lower class family. They're living in what seems like a basement, doesn't it? In fact, it's one of those houses that's kind of like semi underground, isn't it?
It's like a shanty.
We don't get them in England, do we?
No, yeah, it's like it's under a house or an office or something. It's under another building.
Yeah, and they're literally earning a living from making pizza boxes, and then just trying to make ends meet. That's their lives.
I think one of my favourite scenes as well is with the dad, and so the whole family is learning how to make these pizza boxes, and the dad's looking at he's watching a YouTube video on how to make pizza boxes, and they're getting
trying to copy it.
Yeah, they're getting what's that? Was it fumigation?
Oh yeah.
So there's these fumigation people going down the street or the lane or whatever that they live on, fumigating the place, and the boy asks, "Oh, shall I shut the windows quickly?" And I think the mum or the dad says, "No, we'll get free fumigation if you leave them open." Obviously, not thinking about the consequences. So they leave the windows open. They're all suffering, but the dad, like, this is. You know, there's something else I picked up on later on about the dad's character.
Yeah.
But the dad suffers through.
Yeah.
You can tell he's not inhaling and he's not breathing, but he's suffering through. He's looking through that fog, that little mist of the fumigation, and he's just watching the YouTube video of how to make the pizza boxes so he can try and be quicker.
He's making the boxes. Watching it, yeah.
The main part I'm trying to get to with that is he's suffering for his family.
Yes.
And you see that a few more times throughout the movie. That he's happy to suffer. He's happy to suffer for his family's well-being, which I think, you know, is a really good another thing that you could point out and say that is a big thing that you could point out across multiple different countries and, you know. Very true.
I think there's a lot of that kind of depreciation for oneself is such a massive part of, like, they have to lose their pride, they have to lose their ego, and they just have to get on with shit. And that's why he's so insulted by the fact that the upper class man that he ends up working for is so critical of the fact they smell. Because the only thing is that's just a matter of perspective, isn't it? It's just that the upper class man can't imagine why they might smell, why they might not have the same privileges that he does, and that's infuriating for him. And you see that come to a dire consequence throughout it. But there's that great shot as well where it really does remind you of, like, almost every horror film you've seen, where you see the parasite. God. So the word parasite is basically the word for, like, vermin, scum, anything like that, for the lower class, the lowest of the lowest class, where they've had to make ends meet in the worst way possible, which is just, like, almost homelessness, but they're not living for anything, they're just literally trying to have some food, and that's it.
Yeah.
And so you see that happen with the upper class family, it comes into being that way. But there's just this moment where you see someone coming through the shadows from this underground basement dungeon type thing, and you can just see the whites of this guy's eyes,
piercing eyes.
It is fucking terrifying.
Yeah,
it was, and at that point, that's the genre change. That's when you're going from, not, I wouldn't say like a drama, but it's like kind of got some comedy, like you say.
Yeah, it's a bit of a sort of a dark.
Suddenly,
comedy.
It's a horror film.
Yeah, suddenly it really changed tone, and me and sound quite shocked actually by the tonal change. I felt that atmosphere in the room of the cinema we were in just kind of change on a dime.
Completely.
Yeah, completely. People...
It was almost like suddenly you knew you won't be laughing anymore.
and you were hooked instantly.
Yeah.
So just quickly, obviously we've spoken a bit about the beginning. So you've got this family. There's you've got the daughter, the son, and the mum and the dad. The son ends up finding a job with this rich family to tutor the girl of the family, the little girl. So he's tutoring her. He's giving her English lessons.
Yeah, that's it.
And then he slowly starts to he slowly starts to get in other members of his family to come and do jobs around the house.
Yeah, so eventually they are all working under this upper class family.
You've got all four members of the family.
The dad is working as a driver.
Yeah, the sister is working as a
art teacher.
Well, she's
art therapist.
Art therapist, yeah.
But she swings very nice. So the other thing is the mother of the upper class family is very kind of like dotty a little bit, kind of, what's the word? Just
stupid.
very naive.
Yeah, she's very
so
stupid, very
silly
naive.
and naive that she just kind of makes friends with these people, and then because they're being referred by word of mouth, she believes them and therefore employs every member of the family.
Yeah.
Obviously under false pretenses, they're all going, this is who I am, this is who I am, but obviously it's a lie.
Yeah. So slowly, all the members of the family get employed. Doing various jobs in the house. That, as Stan's just said, they're all sort of been passed on from word of mouth, and then you just get this complete tonal change. The rich family go on a I think it's meant to be a small like weekend vacation or something to go camping.
Yeah.
For their little son's birthday, and you just see this really, really nice moment of the four members of the poor family just having a really, they're getting pissed, they're having some food, and they're just kind of chatting amongst themselves, and it's really, really nice scene. And they're not, the thing that I quite liked about this, and it's gonna sound like a weird thing to think about, have you ever heard about animals in cages in zoos?
No.
I think it's tigers or bears or something like that.
Yeah.
So when they're in the wild, obviously they're free to roam.
Yeah.
When they get captured, they usually get captured and put into really small cages.
Yeah.
And they will only walk backwards and forwards over a small patch. Now, when they get taken from these cages and they get put into zoos, they might have a massive big enclosure. You will only see that animal walk small paces backwards and forwards because they've been kept in a cage for so long.
Yeah.
Now, the family, even though they're staying in this massive, grandiose house with however many rooms, because they're so used to being confined to a really small space in that little basement that they're living in, when they go to this big, rich house, instead of being spread about all over the house, they're all sat on one sofa.
I did not think about that.
All four of them are sat on one sofa.
Yeah.
They're all getting pissed. And they're all eating their food.
Very, very close together.
Being merry and happy.
Yeah.
And that, for me, was, it was a real representation of this family. They are like a a bear in isolation.
Yeah.
That's the imagery that it brought to me with that. And I thought that was really,
it might
really,
even
really clever.
relate to the sort of Parasite thing again, in like cockroaches or something like that, where they only know that kind of like just being very, very close quarters, and that's what they're going to do.
And then suddenly you're sort of treated to this brilliant tonal shift, and one of the ex-workers from the house comes by. You're in this scene. You're waiting on tenterhooks because you're like, oh shit, this family's going to get caught.
Yes.
Throughout the whole movie so far, you're really rooting for this family. You're finding it amusing that they're all getting jobs, and some funny stuff happens along the way, but you're really rooting for this family because at the end of the day, they're poor people and they're just trying to get a bit of money.
Yeah.
They're not doing anything that's that bad. And then, so this ex-worker comes to the house. She's saying that she's forgotten something and she needs to get it. She says she needs to go to the basement. She goes downstairs to the basement.
Yeah.
She's taken a little bit of time, and so the mother of the poor family follows her, goes into the basement, and she can hear the woman screaming, saying, "Honey, honey, I'm here," and she notices that the woman's So she's following the woman down into this sort of dungeon type space.
Yeah.
No windows, no doors, no nothing. She's had to go into a secret passageway behind a bookcase. She's following this woman down this sort of dark and dingy corridor, and it's like a moment. It's like a scene from Saw.
Yeah.
It's honestly like a scene from
really
Saw 1
is.
or Saw 2.
Yeah.
Really dark, dingy, disgusting. The lighting, is really poor. And she finally goes down there and she sees that this woman's been keeping her husband alive downstairs in the basement. She's been feeding every so often, and she is like the mother of the family. She's a parasite. She calls her sister, doesn't she? She says we're sisters. We're the same.
Yeah. That's the thing, and then suddenly, I think that's what I said at the end to you, isn't it? That there is a perspective of, wait, who was the bad guy in this? At the very end. So, like you say, even when it's the beginning, you're kind of going through this, we're with this family. Suddenly, you're now thinking, especially with the events that unfold once they find these two people living in the cellar, is who do we think is a good guy? Because they don't exactly treat them with any kind of empathy.
They don't. Yeah, they don't empathise with them at all. They're kind of just trying to deal with their own situation and be like, well, okay.
Because they're trying to make ends meet. This is the thing. They're both just trying to make ends meet. One has been more tricky and managed to wiggle into a good situation.
Yeah.
One is clearly on the downside of things.
Yeah.
But even the upper class family, by the end of it, you're still thinking they weren't the good guy. So there's this real kind of subjective, overall kind of class poignancy.
Yeah, I would kind of suggest when you go watch the movie, keep an open mind in it, and when you come out of it, just kind of think to yourself, who do you think is the good guy? Who do you think is the bad guy in this scenario? Because like you've just said, I don't know, because the upper class guys were dicks.
They were dicks, but they weren't being nasty. None of the characters were trying to be nasty. But then you understand all of their intentions.
Yeah, but then a lot of stuff that does happen to the upper class family, you don't. Do they deserve it? Probably not.
Probably not, but are they completely blind to things around them? Yes, definitely. Yeah. So therefore there would be a bit of rage against them.
Yeah, of course. So, I think by the end of the film you've definitely got a few questions. I don't want to sort of give everything away. I think we need to leave some things for people to watch and peruse over. But overall, how would you rate this movie? Like, obviously we said at the start it was definitely worth the Oscar. Yeah,
I don't think they could have done better with it. I mean, this is a really very obvious premise for a film. Like, it seems like it, doesn't it? Very kind of this is the point which I think for me, I was trying the whole film work out how are you going to deliver this poignant message about class in a way that is resonant with everybody that sees it, that makes sure it's so unbelievably, you can't miss the point, right?
Yeah.
That it's winning Oscars and it's hitting home with its audience that well. And I think it delivers on every front. There's also some really great imagery with the cake. So the cake being this thing, this rich thing that is kind of tying all of the ends of the story together. So you've got the fact that the rich kid sees the parasite for the first time while he's eating this cake. The cake is also the business which both of the not the lead characters, but the dads, or the parasite and the dad of the
poorer families,
had been working for, that had put them into debt. So it's almost showing this. It's almost such a fine line as well between being this upper class and this lower class life. Yeah. I would have rated this maybe I think 9 or 10 out of 10. It was incredible.
I think the biggest thing for me to look at the class divide was the reaction to the big storm that happens at the midpoint of the movie. Just the reaction of the different characters. So you had the reaction of the poorer family first. They had to traipse home walking the whole way because obviously they haven't got any money to get a taxi or a bus or whatever. They had to walk the whole way back. They got absolutely soaked. Their house has been flooded, so they've had to go stay at...
I thought that scene was excellent.
Was it like a community centre or something like that?
Oh, they had to stay in a gym.
Yeah,
All of the lower class people
yeah.
had to stay in a gym because their houses, which some of are underground, were flooded.
Yeah, so the house has been flooded. They haven't got anything. They haven't got any clothes or anything like that. And, you know, so they're experiencing real struggle and real pain. But they still make it to work.
Yeah.
And then the driver, Mr. Kim, I believe
That's
it's called.
the one.
Mr. Kim, he's driving around the rich expensive bitch, and she's just sat in the back of the car, trying to organise a party for her little son, and she's just moaning, saying, "Oh yeah, we had to cut our camping trip short because of the weather."
Yeah,
you know,
see, this is
just really annoying.
And how poignant was that? Like the scenes of next to like back footage of like first it's that mum organising, we need to get this, and just walking around a supermarket and just grabbing anything she wants off the shelf, and then you've got the next scene, them really like trying to make ends meet and crying in a gym because they can't they have nowhere to live.
That for me sums up the real sort of tragedy of class divide.
Yeah. Because
something so minute to someone, it can be catastrophe to another family.
Exactly.
And that are just magic, honestly.
Exactly.
I really love this movie.
Yeah, it's gold, absolutely.
For me, 9.5, maybe even a 10.
Yeah, you cannot deny that it's done the best it could have done with it.
really want to watch it again.
Me too.
100% want to, and yeah, like we've said 1,000 times, if you haven't seen it, go and see it.
And be prepared. There's it's not an easy watch. This is the thing. I did think with 1917, you come out of that film, honestly quite exhausted. There's a lot happening. A lot of the film. You kind of come out and you're like, oh. And it's almost too much to watch. With this, it's so completely mesmerising. Like, not that 1917 isn't, but the story and the characters in this are so rich, and you have no idea where the story's going to take you on this, do you? You really don't. It snakes around. And so by the end, you do feel a little bit of like, oh, thank goodness that's over. But at the same time, the tension is so justified, I think.
Yeah, 100%. There's some real tense scenes in this movie.
It really has you on the edge of your seat. Really great film.
So
anyway, so what else do you want to see?
Well, so usually we do start the podcast by speaking about music. You know, we've obviously skipped over that today. But I do have I've had some really shitty music news today.
Oh,
I'm not fucking happy. I'm here. I want to have a little rant about it.
Okay.
So, for the last 2, 3, maybe 4 years, me and Stan have gone to Slam Dunk Festival.
Indeed.
Does lots of rock, pop punk, alternative.
It's usually
alternative
pop
bands.
punk, that sort of thing.
It's a bit of everything, really.
One up north in Leeds and one down in Hatfield and
in Hatfield in London. So we've been there quite a few times. Mostly enjoyable, I believe.
Other than the terrible one.
But yeah, they posted a little announcement earlier on like social media, so Twitter, Facebook, all the sort. And they've had one of the bands cancel on them for the weekend.
No.
I'm super pissed off about.
Is it Don Broco?
No. So I'm super pissed off.
Okay.
Firstly, because I've never seen this band and I really wanted to, so I'm quite annoyed about that.
Is it Sum 41?
No. You're just
okay. Sorry.
With me. I'm more annoyed about the announcement that the band gave. The reason that they've said that they have to pull out of it.
I'm riveted.
So this band they were meant to be doing a full UK and Europe tour for over May and June for I think like 2 weeks or something like that.
Right.
So they're obviously hitting up England, France, Spain, Germany, all the sorts,
shebang.
The whole shebang that you would do with the Europe tour. And they're meant to be doing these 2 dates in the UK for Slam Dunk. And they've turned around and they've said, unfortunately, they have had a very big opportunity that they can't turn down.
Ooh.
That is what they've said. That's why they're saying that they've had to cancel their Europe tour.
Slap in the face.
Absolute slap in the face to your fans. What kind of
What other
PR
opportunity?
fucking disaster is that?
Yeah.
Why the fuck would you sign off on that?
Say something else. You would just say that if you were their PR.
Say there's an
anything
illness.
else.
Say there's an illness. Say there's a family matter or whatever. Make some bullshit
Some
up.
difficulties. Like
Honestly.
it doesn't need to. It just make it loose.
Say that one of the bands isn't allowed to enter Europe because
Yeah,
of something.
yeah.
Honestly, because I would. Okay, fair
That's
enough.
gonna be an issue,
I'm
isn't
not going to
it?
bother
Yeah.
researching into it. I'll just
Yeah.
take your word for it.
Yeah.
But this, I'm interested in
You're thinking,
because I'm so pissed off.
what is it that could be better than a European tour?
So I'll tell you the band, and then I'll tell you what the rumour mill is. So the band is The Used.
Oh, is it? Oh,
I'm really pissed off because
I
I've never
actually did
seen
wanna
them.
see them,
Yeah, really
yeah.
want to see them.
been around for ages.
So I've been reading up, and quite a lot of their fan base, like it's about 80-90% of people, have noticed that MCR
and I was thinking
are
the
doing a
same.
North American tour around the same time,
They-
and you know, 101 together. So The Used and MCR, if we go back to I think about 2005,
Yeah,
they had quite a good relationship.
they did. Yeah,
And
kind of came up together.
they even did
the same time.
a couple of tracks together as well.
They did. Yeah.
And I think they covered a Queen and Bowie song, you know, Under Pressure.
Under Pressure. I thought they did.
Yeah,
as well,
they covered that. But so, word on the street is they're just gonna go and cover. They're gonna go and be MCR support.
Isn't that surprising? Because I would have thought if you've got your manager has organised your own gigs.
Yep.
Surely that's your money,
Yep.
your income.
Yep.
If you're riding off the back of MCR, surely you're not going to, one, have a better response, two, have more money. I'm really surprised.
I'm pissed off.
Kind of makes me
That
rethink how that works, actually.
That is an absolute slap in the fucking
It is,
face
yeah.
to fans of your music and your band.
Definitely.
That really, really wound me up because, you know, I didn't buy the ticket to this festival and I wouldn't have bought a ticket to the tour just based on that band.
True.
But
Maybe that's the
to
same with a lot of people. I wonder how it was received.
big. Well, yeah, but if you look at other bands that are on the festival bill, you know, they were odds. I'd put them in the top 4 or 5 bands, name wise.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You've got
for
Sum
sure.
41, you've got Don Brocco, you've got The Used, 4 Year Strong. They're quite big, aren't they?
They are big. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, you know, for me, they're in the top 4 or 5 bands, and for them to just turn around and be like, oh, actually,
Yeah.
a better opportunity's come up. I think is disgusting.
Just don't say
It
that.
really is.
Yeah,
Just
it
don't
is.
say that.
Yeah.
Make up some bullshit excuse.
No, I get
Obviously,
you.
they can't say that there's an illness.
Don't just lie. I was going to say, yeah, don't just lie, but just
No,
come
obviously,
up with
yeah.
something.
Obviously, they can't turn around and say, "Oh."
We're so sorry. That's
But-
what you should be saying. We're
Yeah.
so sorry.
But yeah, I was furious when I read that.
I wonder how it was perceived, how the actual tour itself was perceived. If they were going to, if this could be it. If
Well,
they
this
were
is the
going to
thing,
sell out
yeah.
everything with MCR, maybe that's why.
I think this is probably the thing. Maybe they're doing like a. I didn't even bother looking at their tour to see sort of where they were going or how many dates they were doing, but just per se they were doing a 10 or 12 date tour.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe only half the tickets sold for some of the venues.
Yeah.
Maybe they weren't all sellouts, and maybe they were thinking, do we really want to do a half full tour when we can
Yeah.
go and tour with MCR? Maybe a few more people are going to listen to us that wouldn't have ordinarily, and then.
It's the same crowd,
Because
isn't
you know 100% the MCR tour will sell out.
Yeah, for
it's,
sure.
It's probably
Instantly.
already
Yeah,
has
it
sold
would
out.
do.
So maybe they're thinking, you know, we'll go support a sold out MCR, get our music out there a bit more, because I don't think
Maybe
they've done
that's
anything.
it.
I don't think they've done anything new for a while.
I wouldn't have thought so. No, surely not.
And then maybe they'll come back and do another tour.
Mm.
But I did see some more interesting news about that they'd apparently it's not the first time that they've cancelled shows in the UK.
What?
So it really pisses off your UK fan base.
Maybe they're not that big over here. Do you think that's what it is?
Well, you
Maybe
say
they
that,
weren't
but
selling out.
you say that, but there's obviously something there. And if you're not that big,
Don't have
book,
shows.
No, book smaller shows.
Yeah, you're
if
right.
If you can't sell out Ali Pali, if
Yeah.
you can't sell out Wembley Arena,
Yeah.
book a smaller show. There's venues.
Yeah.
There's hundreds upon hundreds of
We're
venues
good for that.
just in London that
Yeah,
you could go
that's
to.
true, that's
Go
true.
do Camden Underworld.
That would be
Honestly,
sick.
like go do
Great venue.
go do what's the one in Southampton called? I think it's not Fighting Cocks. That's Kingston. But you know, if you can't sell out the Guildhall in Southampton,
Yeah.
go to Joiners. Joiners is probably a couple of hundred people. if that's how you feel
You're
about your
gonna-
band,
yeah, yeah.
You know, I think England's really good for
Loyal fans.
loyal fans, but also, you know, like a sort of a real different degree of how big your music is. You can play at every level. If you can only fill a 50-seater pub,
That's true.
you can get a 50-seater pub.
For sure.
If you can get a 200-seater place, you can get a 200-seater place. If you can get an arena, if you can get a fucking stadium, we've got heaps of them. Like,
Very true.
it just really wound me up.
A good
Honestly,
rant,
I was
yeah.
fucking fuming.
No, that's such.
So, fuck you, Used.
Agreed.
On
Agreed.
a different note though, like
Yeah.
I do hope that the festival organisers kind of
Do you think they'll do?
pull their finger out and do something.
Yeah, I wonder.
Well, I'd imagine so. Like,
Get someone else in.
my sort of thing with a festival would be, if you've got, say you've booked 100 acts or whatever, surely you'd have a list of, right, we've got these 5 acts just in case.
Yeah.
So, you know, sub one of them in.
Hopefully.
But then, I'm
It
just
is
kind of
slam
hoping.
dunk. So when I say it was a rubbish one, before we went, what was it, a year ago? The last year's, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And they just had so many things go wrong, bless them. It's a small festival and they moved to a different location.
Yeah, so we'd been to them a couple of years before, and they were at a university campus.
That was it, yeah.
In London, and the festival went really well because it was quite a small thing.
Yeah.
They only had about 3 or 4 stages. They had a few stalls for food and drink and stuff, and they had obviously merch stands and stuff. And then when they did the after party, they did it in the uni campus, and it just sort of ran really smoothly.
Yeah.
Whereas we've gone now to where they've upgraded it and they've put it into this bigger, I think it's Hatfield Park.
Hatfield Park,
put it
so
into
they
this
needed
bigger-
tents for everything, and it was
Yeah.
a great big logistics issue.
But it just...
But everything kind of just didn't work. It was like watching something in practice, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah.
It was the fact that the card machines didn't work, then the cash points, there was one of...
Yeah,
And
the
it
cash
had a
machine.
massive
the
queue.
cash point. There was only one cash point. There was a massive queue for that. Nowhere took cards. Because of where the stadium is, they don't get a very good signal. Like, it's so stupid.
It was so bad. So
Like
you got all the way to the end of the queue in the food stall, and then you had to go, oh, your cash machine isn't working. That was we'll go get cash. Oh, that's going to take you an hour.
I think at one point as well, we stood and we waited at a bar for about 45 minutes.
Oh, and that was the other thing, the
and
beers and everything.
Yeah, and we had to, I think one of the first or second round that we got, we probably got about 2 beers each and 2 shots because we were just like, well, I'm not coming back.
This is it.
I'm
you
not
have
coming
to
back
at that
again.
point. It's
Yeah.
a horrible feeling. So yeah, hopefully they pull it out of the bag this year because it's going to be a struggle, isn't it? But
I'm hoping
the rest
so.
of the band's still good.
We'll see what happens. But other than that, I have been to see a movie today.
What movie did you see, Nathan?
Well, there's quite a little abundance of films coming out that I'm quite intrigued by.
Yeah.
And the one that I ventured out to go and see today is called Greed. Know anything about it? You're looking at... So, for those of you that are unavailable to see Stan's face right now, he's looking at me with a very confused look on his face.
Greed. I feel like I should know it, but it's not ringing a bell. Who's in this? What's it about?
Steve Coogan.
Oh, okay. I just saw him in glasses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
So Steve Coogan plays a billionaire, tycoon, entrepreneur, whatever you want to kind of label him as. It's kind of based on real life, but everything's fictional, if that makes sense.
No, that did not make sense.
Okay, so the characters are fictional, the story's fictional, but it's based on real life people.
Right, got you. Okay.
I'll explain a little bit more as I go into
I think
detail
that
about
makes
the
sense.
movie.
Yeah.
But first things first, like I was sitting down watching the movie, and as a English person that quite enjoys some stand-up comedy, very impressed with the cast.
Yeah?
Really impressed with the cast. So you had Steve Coogan, was obviously a main character. You had David Mitchell.
Nice. Good
He
start.
was there.
Was a fan
you
of it.
had the lead boy from the Netflix show Sex Education.
Oh,
whose name is very strange. Asa Butterfield.
Asa Butterfield.
Very weird name.
Sounds like a made-up name, doesn't it?
But yeah, he's in it. And you also had Chubuddy G. Please tell me you know Chubuddy G.
No.
English comedy. Honestly, search him out.
Is he in
Chubuddy G.
People Just Do Nothing? Is that guy?
I can't remember.
No, I don't
But
think
yeah,
it.
Chubuddy G. No?
No, not really.
Okay, nothing. Stephen Fry makes an appearance.
Hey! God, that's Stephen Fry.
And also another guy called Tim Key or Tom Key, something like that. And he does, like, a lot of these guys obviously do panel shows and talk shows and stuff like that in the UK on the comedy circuit. But yeah, really, really good cast, really strong. And also you even got an appearance from Isla Fisher.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah. But yeah, so the movie... The movie takes place over I think it's about a 4 or 5 day period, and it's in the build up to Steve Coogan. So he's the main character, Richard McGreedy. So that his character's name is Richard McGreedy. But his nickname is Greedy.
Greedy.
So he's Greedy McGreedy.
Or Greedy.
So he's obviously known throughout his whole life for being a greedy dickhead.
I see.
And obviously just trying to, pinch pennies as and where he can.
Yes.
So the story takes place over a 5 day period, and it's him planning his own 60th birthday party. He's had a bit of bad press with some of his companies going bust, and he's been getting shit in the news and blah blah blah. And so he's trying to sort of get his fame back and show the people that he's still there and he's still alive and kicking. So he's trying to book artists such as Beyonce, Ed Sheeran, Shakira. He's trying to get all these people in for his party.
Yeah.
And you can tell it's going to be an absolute shit show.
Oh no, really?
Did you ever see that Fire Fest?
Fire Festival. I saw
Netflix?
that. Yeah.
You saw it. So imagine
shit
that.
Show.
Yeah, imagine that. But it's actually a party for someone, and that's literally what it reminded me of.
Oh, I see.
It was so good.
You can see that he's trying to make it happen, but
he's
really cares.
Yeah, he's really trying to make it happen.
Yeah.
Steve Coogan plays the character really well. He's an absolute prick.
Right.
But he's meant to be a prick.
He plays that character really alarmingly well.
You're meant to hate this guy. So this guy is meant to be, in commas, he's meant to be a self-made billionaire. And he's not, he's just a prick.
He's Donald Trump self-made.
Yeah, he scams people out of money, he swindles people, he does what he can to get further.
Right.
The first scene, so the story kind of whittles back to when he's younger, back to kind of keeps flashing backwards and forwards between past and present.
Yeah.
The first time you see him, when it's in the past, he is playing Find the Lady, Find the Queen. You ever seen that card trick before?
I haven't.
So you'd see it like on street corners or something like that, maybe in the 90s or 80s or something like that.
Okay.
Someone trying to swindle you out of money. It's a pretty famous magic trick. Person will hold up 3 cards. One of them will be a queen. They'll put the cards face down.
Okay.
But obviously they'll show you where the queen is first.
Right.
And you just basically need to keep your eye on the queen. They'll muddle the cards up, and then you need to pick out where the queen is. Obviously you'll never get it because it's a fucking trick, and they're just trying to swindle you out of your money.
Yes.
So that's the first scene that you see him, him in.
Why is it called Find the Lady, Find the Queen? Is it going to be planted on some woman in the room or something?
No. You're just meant to find
the Queen.
It's either find the queen or find the lady.
Do you remember when we were in Australia and someone played that with us and he was incredible at it?
What, find the queen?
Yeah, it was like here's your card, and then it would be literally like at the top of the room.
Yes, I do. We were in a casino.
It was in a casino, and I honestly couldn't imagine how he was doing it.
No, that was really, really good.
On the ceiling, guys, it was insane.
Yeah, I love magic.
Some people just take it to another level. Anyway, yeah.
But yeah, so this guy's just a massive swindler. He tries to build his own sort of empire. He leaves school when he's like 16. His dad dies, and him and his mum just kind of want to show the world, like, fuck you, we can make it.
Right, I see.
And yeah, he just kind of, he takes these really small companies that are worthless, tries to build them up, and then tries to get out of them as quick as he can to try and make a quick buck.
I see.
They do a really good explanation of it at some point, but I kind of think it was lost on me. just because my big business acumen's not too
Right.
great.
Yeah.
But
what you mean? Like they explain how that makes them money? Because that's what I'm thinking. Like,
they explain. Yeah, they basically explain how people like him make their money.
Oh, I see. Investors.
And so you can see he really hurts people along the way. And there's this subplot of Sri Lankan workers and Bangladeshian workers, obviously making clothes in sweatshops for fuck all money. You are quoted with some facts at the end of the movie. Apparently, these people are paid as much as £4 a day.
Oh.
And they're working 10 to 12 hour shifts in these factories, making loads and loads of clothes for really expensive brands. You know, H&M and Zara get mentioned in this movie about 20 times.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah, so they're really, really going heavy-handed.
There's a lot of terrible stuff happening.
Yeah, there's a lot of terrible stuff happening.
How is it things like Primark are still going?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
How can they charge?
How can they not shut them down?
Yeah, how can they charge £5-6 for a t-shirt?
It came out in the news, and everyone went, "That's awful. Not going to change. Going to still buy everything from it." I don't know. There just should have been some action taken, surely.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So yeah, this movie's really got a big subplot on that kind of aspect of things. So I'd like to think that the people that are involved in making the movie really have got some strong feelings behind it. And yeah, just follows the story throughout the few days planning the party.
Yeah.
And you can just tell things are getting worse and worse. You know, and you can tell things aren't going to get better. At some point, there's some Syrian refugees that are on the beach, where Steve Coogan's character and everybody coming to the party are staying. They're on the beach, and he's like, "Oh, they're ruining my view." Tries to get them arrested.
Oh God!
So you can tell this character's a real prick.
Yeah,
he's a real piece
of
work.
No empathy whatsoever.
And yeah, just I don't really know how to sort of categorise the movie.
Yeah,
so it's not
supposed to be a comedy, is it?
Yeah, I'd kind of label it as a bit of a dark comedy. You know, there's definitely some serious issues that they try and cover in it. And I did do a bit of reading up about it, and apparently it's loosely based on Sir Philip Morris, I believe his name is.
Oh, I have heard that name.
He's a sir. Firstly, he's a knight.
God.
He is a billionaire that owns Topshop, Topman, Wallace, Burton, all those kind of chain stores.
The CEO.
Yeah, so he's he sort of his life really is sort of portrayed in this movie, and there's been a lot of backlash, obviously, from him and people in his camp, sort of saying like,
that means you've done a good job.
This isn't great at all.
Yeah.
And I think Steve Coogan made like a big speech about it when they did the premiere.
Yeah.
For the press releases and the premiere and stuff like that. He made a real big deal. Like this is a real serious issue that we're not talking about. So there's obviously serious issues, but I don't know. I think ultimately I'm not sure whether these serious issues to do with the sweatshop workers and paying them such low wages and stuff like that is lost. See, the movie does use it as like a subplot, but your main plot is you're following this greedy prick and you just want him to get his comeuppance.
Yeah.
Are you going to catch it, or do you want me to? Should I feel free to give you a spoiler?
Go on, give me a spoiler. I probably will see this.
This is how up his own arse this guy is. He wants a Roman amphitheatre to be built on this small island in Greece, where all these celebrities are meant to be coming to his party.
This is mainly about his party, is it?
Yep.
That's the main premise.
Yeah, that's the main premise.
God damn.
He wants this amphitheatre to be built.
Yeah.
And he also wants a gladiator showcase, because I'm pretty sure his favourite movie is Gladiator. That's what they're sort of getting to.
Yeah.
And so he hires in a lion. The comedian Buddy G, who is, you know, if you don't know him, definitely check him out. You check him out 100%.
I will do.
Chibuddy G plays the lion tamer, and it's just ridiculous. This lion is sort of kept in his little cage in the amphitheatre, and Chibuddy G's just saying, you know, he needs to get used to the environment. And Steve Coogan's character's complaining because the lion's not scary at all. He's like, you know, when we have this party, I really need to look him. You know, he's got to look fucking scary. I want him to be scary because right now he just looks like a little prick. You know, and he's really complaining about this lion, and it gets to the night of the party, and Steve Coogan's son, who's really pissed off at him, ends up giving cocaine to the lion.
What? Jesus
So
Christ.
the lion gets fed cocaine.
Oh my God.
And then the subplot kind of comes into focus.
Yeah.
One of the sweatshop workers is a relative of one of the main characters in the film, and she's working for Steve Coogan.
Oh, shit.
She says herself that she's working for him as a slave.
Yeah.
And she kind of says to David Mitchell, who they kind of end up having a bit of a weird romance friendship thing going on. She turns around and says to him, you know, I feel like I'm a slave. My mum was a slave for this guy this whole time, blah blah blah. And she ends up standing at the back of the amphitheatre. She sort of walked past the line and she's just stood there, fuck knows why. And then Steve Coogan's character comes into the amphitheatre.
Yeah.
And he stood and he's just giving this lion shit. He's obviously had a few to drink, but he's just a bit bored with life.
Yelling at the lion.
Yeah, I don't think he's really enjoyed the party, and he's just shouting at the lion, just giving him a bit of grief, and she ends up being stood by a button that is the opening for the cage.
Of course.
So she has this moment. She just presses the button, cage door opens, lion comes out. They have a bit of toing and froing, and then the lion absolutely fucking mauls him. It's brilliant.
I can't wait to see that bit.
It's honestly really really funny. But yeah, the kind of main thing was my main takeaway right at the end of the movie. The main Asian character who I just mentioned that ends up being the death of Steve Coogan's character. She basically turns around and she has this little monologue, and she turns around at the end of the movie and she says, you know, it's just like him when he went into these sweatshop factories and he just tried to barter for prices with the owners of these factories.
Yeah.
He wasn't thinking about the people that worked in the factories.
No.
He wasn't thinking about them. You know, that they're having to work for less money. They're now having to produce more clothes for less money. They're having to go home. How are they going to feed their family? How are they going to live?
Yeah.
He's not thinking about any of that. So when I pressed that button, the door opened and the lion went out. I didn't make that happen. All I did was press the button, just like all he did was try and haggle prices.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way that she turns around and she says, I didn't kill him, just like he didn't kill all these other people that died in sweatshops.
It was just a thing that happened because of something else.
Yeah. She was the catalyst, just like he was the catalyst for them.
Exactly.
She was the catalyst for him dying.
I love to hear about this stuff.
So it's really interesting, but I definitely would say I'm not sure whether the big overall message is really
hits home.
Yeah.
Which is what Parasite did really well. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I think it could have been a good film if it hadn't have managed to find a way of making it so directly, like, you can't miss this. You cannot miss what it's trying to say. So with this, it sounds like it's a bit of a shame it didn't do that. How do you rate it then?
I'll probably go with maybe I don't know, I don't want to go as bad as a 6 out of 10. Maybe 6.5. I think it'd be a push to say 7. I was really impressed with the cast. Like, I loved the fact that they used it was a Film 4 production. Yeah. So they've done quite a lot of, you know, English films in the past.
Oh yeah, good. Good.
So yeah, I'll definitely say it's a UK film.
A good British film.
Yeah, a good British film. But I'm just a bit disappointed with the overall message. I think is probably going to be a bit lost and overshadowed.
Unlucky. Okay.
But yeah, brilliant cast. I love the fact that David Mitchell's in it. I'm a massive fan of David Mitchell. I love Peep Show. But I'm not sure whether this is him and his range, or whether it's when he gets casted in something, they feel as if he's only got one character.
I think
because in this movie, he basically played Mark. He made jokes about history
Right.
He made jokes at himself about knowing nothing about football.
I need to see that.
He wasn't manly at all.
Yeah.
And yeah, he
was Mark.
He just played Mark.
Yeah.
Which I don't mind, but I would like to know. Like, I'm not.
If he could act properly.
Yeah, I'm not trying to offend David Mitchell.
No,
I love him. I think he's hilarious.
I think he's capable.
And when he's on panel shows, he's really exuberant and stuff like that. He can still be sarcastic and witty, but he can also be really flamboyant and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'd just like to know if that is his range, or is he just getting typecast?
I'd like to know as well. We shall see.
But yeah, I'll probably go with a nice 6.5 out of 10. If you haven't seen it, try and check it out. Although I'm very disappointed, as this movie only came out last week and it's already getting cut from quite a lot of cinemas.
This is the thing, I've noticed it. Very little marketing has gone into it. I was just, I think I almost was like, what is that? And this is the thing. If you don't hear about it, how are you going to see it?
Yeah, that's
a bit of a shame.
Well, hopefully this will give some people.
This is what will do it.
Yeah, this will be it. This is going to keep it in cinemas.
So, for the millions of people listening, please go and see Greed.
Yeah. Please try and check it out. I'll definitely give it a watch. I
love the fact that it seems like there's a bit of a change in Hollywood. Well, maybe not in Hollywood, but with films trying to make those big points and try and make films that really make people think, rather than something like Tarantino, where it's like something that's good to watch, you know? And
well,
I've got a really good example, actually, which I'll tell you all about next week, but just to drop it in there, the film was called Downsizing, and it looks to be, like you said, like it's a bit of a walk in the park, but it ends up being that it's got some really deep messages that it wants to bring across. So I'll talk about that next week anyway.
Yeah, sounds really, really good.
My voice is a bit sore, guys. You might be able to tell. Cool. Johnny Cash over here.
Well, I'm pretty sure we've covered pretty much everything we want to discuss today.
I think we have, yeah.
Thanks for giving us a listen.
Indeed. And give us a like, give us a subscribe, hit that subscribe button, guys. I know you hate hearing that.
Do it.